Welcome back to the All Out Club podcast. We're in our home test week here in Brisbane, the Gabba test, after what was quite a brutal bashing of some Indian cricket players in Adelaide under lights, Mick. We're back again. Your thoughts straight away on the Adelaide test? I feel like that was just an absolute beating up.
Yeah, it was a great recovery from Australia. A few haters are very quiet.
Very quiet.
Especially Indian fans. But I feel like we're always going to recover well, but in a pink test, we got to be favourites there.
Look, Travis Head is the new father of India because he seems to just score runs at a way that just bullies the opposition. And he did that. He was simply sensational once again in Adelaide. He always scores runs here.
I don't want to exaggerate, but he might be India's father.
He is India's
if you're
father.
talking about big games, World Test Championship final, World
Cup
Cup
final.
Today in this test, like without that innings, it's game on.
It is game on. And I think there was a few moments where we could pinpoint where the test sort of could have changed and would have changed. For me, it was that first night session when Usman and Nathan McSweeney came out to bat under lights. Bumrah's coming in with a full head of steam.
Yep.
Shiraz is coming in at a full head of steam, as Tubby said on Triple M. And then that Rana bloke, he's pretty good as well. So India's got some pretty
solid.
good. He's got some pretty good depth. I just want to give a quick shout out to our Nathan McSweeney, one of our brothers. I don't think there's been a harder test introduction for a batsman in test history than what Nathan's had to go through. He's had to go through the media. He's had to go through the media scrutiny of everyone judging him about what was probably a left field selection. No one was really expecting him to bat.
He's batting in a position
Australia.
he's never batted before, or at least in the last few years.
He had to contest with all the other players that were in contention for Australia. He had to face Bumrah with a spell of bowling that was world class in Perth. And to get him out twice, he had to, again, bat late in the day, both times in Perth. He comes to Adelaide under lights in what was the toughest circumstances possible for a batsman.
Yeah. I mean, he's facing not the fastest, but the best ball in the world.
Yeah.
That's the first issue. It's a pink ball. It's at night. That was probably the grittiest, the hardest 39 he'll ever get in his career.
That 39 was a 70 in my books. It just meant that much to the Aussie team going in one down at the end of that day. It was a 70. It wasn't on paper, but it was a 70.
Yeah, it's all statistics, but at the end of the day, there's different statistics when it comes to stuff like that.
And then to add on top of that, he had to face the lights turning off twice. Imagine if the lights just turn off mid-run up. You're locked in, the lights turning off. That's gonna rock you up.
I know it's obviously harder to face the pink ball at night, but I do feel like the break in play where he's gone on to the next day probably didn't help him. His eye was in.
Yeah, his eye was in.
I feel like, do you think you'd be a victim to that? If it's across a different day or it's a drinks break, I feel like there's a lot of players who get out to the first couple of overs.
Yeah, there would be. And Nathan did fall for that trap, unfortunately. We're no eye experts here, but I'm sure there was some sort of eye technology or eye measuring data that could probably figure that out.
Yeah, definitely. There'd be a stud out there.
And then to top it off for Nathan, he had to come out and make 18 runs to really solidify the win. And to do it in 0 down, him not out, he's not only building his averages, but he's building respect in the Australian cricket team, and I'm all for it. He is going to be a superstar.
I did see he was on the Hazy Pale Ales in the post-match
with
drinks.
the bison. I'm sure that went down well.
Yeah, look, I don't know if he's got a spono there because he really did emphasise the logo.
He did emphasise the logo.
Hazy Pale Ale can. I can respect that.
Yeah, I can respect
It's
a good pale.
Not my personal poison, but we move.
But yeah, Adelaide, I think now there's more questions than answers for the Indian side, because I think last podcast we were saying what's Australia going to do, what are we going to do with their team, and now what's India going to do? Bumrah was down in pace that last over. He was probably sore from bowling.
He looked sore.
He bowled 2 7-over spells, which was quite bizarre in my opinion. Like that's a long spell.
It looked like his back was sore from carrying. That's one thing, and it looked like this is just my speculation. He looked a bit like, hey, I should be captain of this team. and Rohit should be gone because he's lost 4 on the trot, Rohit, as captain. He's batting at 6. He's not performing. I'll just put that out there.
You're
Rohit
just
Gawn next
planting the
test.
seed. You're planting the seed.
Yeah, I think there's a bit of rivalry going on there, and I think Rohit could be gone next game.
Well, speaking of the Indian side, they did make 3 changes, I believe, to their test side. That one in Perth. They've got Ravindra Jadeja on the bench at the moment, who has a stunning batting average in Australia. I think he averages about 40 in Australia. His bowling record speaks for himself. I could see him coming into the test.
You got to pick him. He's maybe the best athlete in world cricket.
He's a gun fielder.
Yeah. He is maybe got the best celebration for a 50 and 100.
Oh, yeah. Big time.
With the sword play. I think you got to pick him. You can't really drop Reddy.
No, he's been good.
He was great.
Yeah, he's been good.
Does Rohit go into open maybe?
It's a good
and
question.
Maybe Rahul comes out?
It's a good question. I think I think Brisbane, unlike Adelaide, you need the spinner. And it's what we've been saying the whole time for Adelaide. Yeah. Why, and this is very a bold take, hot take, methodical thinking, but why do we need to pick Nathan Lyon on the Adelaide test?
I like this take.
Because
he bowled one over.
He bowled one over, right? He's probably not going to bowl under lights when it's the ball swinging and nipping as much as it did. We bowled him one over in utter desperation for a breakthrough in the first innings. Yep. Why did we have to pick him where we could have picked Webster, another seam bowler to give our frontline quicks a rest, another batter. So then we bat to, 10 with Cummins. And then, I feel like there's just this absolute thinking where we have to pick Lyon every test. And if we don't, there's no other thinking. We have to pick him. And I feel like that shouldn't be the case.
I actually agree with you with that. I think a lot of Australians wouldn't. I think that people are in that mindset where Nathan Lyon has to get picked.
No, he doesn't have to get picked.
Australia.
Yeah. And this isn't criticising Lyon. He's a great bowler. But under the circumstances of the field and very tactical thinking, I just thought Webster would have come in there and done what Mitch Marsh could have done, but actually bowled.
Yeah. Pretend Mitch Marsh has the same issue. He's got a niggling injury, can't bowl next game. Why can't we pick Scotty Boland over Nathan Lyon? I know you got to pick a spinner some games. I think Head and McSweeney are solid enough.
Well, they're solid.
Pretend you're a batter. You've faced a brutal spell from Stark and Cummins and Hazelwood. Who would you rather face, Nathan Lyon or Scotty Boland?
Again,
just niggling it away.
It depends on the wicket.
Nibbles.
It depends on the wicket. And I felt like Adelaide was a good opportunity for us to say, hey, we have another dimension in our game here in Australia. We can throw in Webster and we can bat to 10, So,
mate, Scotty Boland's impact is undeniable every time he plays. He averages 13 in Australia.
I would be shocked if we drop him for the Gabba test. I would be shocked.
But then what do we do?
Cummins came out in the post game press with Isha Gua, and he basically said, Scotty's been great for us, but Hazelwood's looking like he's going to be fit for the Gabba. You can't drop him. He's just got Coley out twice. Come on. You can't drop him.
I feel like Hazelwood's... He deserves the right to get picked straight away if he's coming back from injury. Scotty Boland, it's unfortunate. If you existed maybe 6 years ago before this unreal bowling lineup, you'd get picked consistently.
You would.
It's like Stewie McGill. You're in an era where you're very unlucky. He's been very fortunate. He's gotten 33 wickets in his career. I think he's gone next test. And maybe for the MCG, we pick him.
I think you're right. I think Hazelwood comes in for Boland. I think they do pick Lyon, even though what I just said might suggest otherwise, that I don't think they pick him. But I think for the Gabba test and for the Gabba wicket, they're going to pick Lyon. So I think they'd go for the Perth team. And you know what? This is a very big test. The Gabba, India, by all their rights, absolutely smashed us last time they were at the Gabba, and they weren't supposed to. They ruined a massive streak. It's a massive test, and I think it's going to be a very good one.
Yeah, just on the Gabba, this is definitely something that's controversial. Next year,
we've got the day-night test.
Adelaide will not retain the day-night test. The Gabba gets it. Adelaide is 8-0 in night tests. The Gabba, 0-1. Look, we're Brisbane locals. But I think you might agree, we don't necessarily love the Gabba as an oval.
Look, mate, the Gabba, and it is very outdated. Very outdated. It's old. And to say that Queensland needs a new stadium is an understatement.
100%.
Not Queensland, Brisbane. Brisbane needs a new stadium. But I think you're right. Adelaide is a spectacle. Just unbelievable, isn't it?
There's a clip going out where all the players go, is day-night tests overrated? And they go, it's overrated if it's not in Adelaide. So all the players want it in Adelaide. 101,000 fans attended the test over the first 2 days. So the fans like it.
It just speaks for itself. It's a perfect mix of old-fashioned hill, old-fashioned scoreboard, brand new stadium where anyone can sit. There's your Bay 13 on the hill. Everyone's having fun. All the videos were outstanding that we saw on the socials.
Beautiful.
And then you come to the Gabba. It's just an oval den pretty much, and it's just not much theatre going on. You know what I mean? You got to create your own theatre.
Adelaide's the best cricket oval I've been to. I've been to the MCG, but when the Adelaide's popping, wow! On that hill, I remember seeing a guy just scull a carton of milk randomly in front of the hill and then get kicked out. Look, I think the Gabba goes back to the first test series, first match of the series, and then it just switches with the Wacker.
Well,
Perth.
The issue now is for the Gabba, because after 2026 when the Ashes is done, we only have 4 tests each summer, which means the Gabba misses out. So we don't have a test after 2026 because our stadium is now classified as the 5th best stadium in the country.
We're fortunate that, and thankfully, it's a 5-match series, which is way better, mind you.
Oh, mate,
Thank God it's not a 3-gamer.
No.
Like, it'd be great if we were going into a decider right now, but five matches really determines who the better team is.
Oh, God, yeah. I will pitch this to you. We've had 2 tests now finished on day 3. All of England, New Zealand tests have finished on day 4.
Mm-hmm.
If you go through all the Sheffield Shield this week, it's finished on day 3, not day 4.
Yeah.
Is there more of an argument now potentially for Test cricket to be moved permanently to 4 days instead of the 5 days? I know it was spitballed a little bit. I can see the idea now that pitches are probably getting a bit more even, not batting friendly, that Test cricket actually does go to 4 days and not the 5 days.
It's a good point. That was the 4th shortest completed test in Australian history. So the argument's there. I just feel like cricket's great because of its history. I don't want to change anything where history, statistics especially, are impacted. Think about all the historic games that have been decided on a 5th day.
Headingley.
Exactly. There's plenty of examples. I'm not saying that can't happen on a 4th day, but I don't want to ruin that. Yeah,
it's a good point. But I feel like more teams would start to adapt to the Bazball type style, which I quite like myself, as the mic starts to fall apart. But I like how England have sort of attacked the game more than I do say a team that just blocks the ball. But that's sort of my opinion. And
cricket's it's at a good
spot at the moment.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
How about Pavuma? Can I just say that real quickly? Because I was thinking about international teams. Pavuma is a special player and a special captain. Player. We'll move on.
Well, the way it stands now, South Africa versus Australia World Test Championship at England under those conditions, that's going to be a very good fight if it stays those two.
It's an arousing thought. I think Australia dominate that game.
Yeah.
With respect.
With our bowls be too good.
Yeah.
Look, mate, lots of else to talk about. Big Bash is starting soon as well. The NRL, I think this is the quietest week the NRL's had in all year, almost.
And I don't want to jinx anything, but in terms of off-field controversies, it's been pretty limited. Can't touch wood with that. Like,
it's been limited.
Compared to previous years,
where's the Mad Monday scandals?
Look, there was one a couple of months ago with a certain Broncos player. Yes, that happened. But outside of that, it's been full respect to the NRL boys. If you're talking about, how do I say it, like, not per capita, but in terms of every world sport, NRL, for just a single country sort of league, has the most controversy.
Oh, absolutely.
It's unbelievable.
Like NRL,
I'm trying to think of like a recent one that's happened. Apart from him.
I'm struggling. I'm really am trying.
Really well done. I'm sure something will come out.
NRL media managers, well done. That's outstanding.
Teams
PR teams, HR teams. That's unreal.
Yeah.
Back to the cricket though. Travis Head, is he? And I don't want to ramble on too much, but where does he now sit as Australia's one of Australia's up their best middle order batters?
He's definitely rising up the ranks. He's still how old is he? 30, 31?
Yep.
Relatively.
He'll be there in
fairly
2027.
Yeah, it's fairly young for a test player. He'll play for another, 6 years, maybe 5 years. He gets great hundreds. That's what we're talking about. When you're talking about world-class players and historical players, his hundreds are gritty. They're against good opposition. It's sort of hard in Australia because we've just had so many world-class talents throughout our years.
Well, I'll pitch this to you. Yep. Other than Buddha, the whole Australian side is over 30. We've got an Ashes next year in Australia. 2 years' time, we have another Ashes in England, 2027. Who is your starting 11 in 2027 Ashes? And I was going through this the other day. Our depth's going to be tested. It's going to be tested.
Jeez, wow.
So, number one, I'm getting Constas in there. Sam Constas, he can go to number one.
It's understandable who's making way. Uzi?
Well, he's 38, so he won't be there.
I get it.
2, who opens the batting with him? I'm going to say Buddha slides down to at least 4 or 5. So Travis Head will be there, so we'll stick him at 5. Head.
Yep.
Green will be at 6, or will he be at 4? Or does Buddha slide in at 4? Will Steve Smith and Marnus be there?
Green suits 4.
Green suits 4. Buddha and Marnus, they'd have to be still in there.
Yeah.
So Buddha, we'll keep Buddha at opening. Marnus 3.
I get where this is going.
Marnus 3.
No Smith?
No Smith. He retires. Smith retires.
No.
It's
I refuse to see him go.
End of an era.
No. He can play for the next 2 years and just not score. I just want to see his face. Yeah.
Smith goes. He has to go.
I did predict Marnus would have a good test, but another few failures and Marnus is still under question. Smith just, his eye is gone. Anything down leg he's playing at, he's missing.
He said he's found his hands before the test.
Yeah, he's found his hands, but he's lost his eyes.
He's lost something.
Yeah, look, I think that's a fair shout.
Yeah.
Constas has to play next year if he has a good, finish to the Shield and stuff like that.
So far we've got Constas, Buddha, Marnus.
Bowling attack exactly the same.
Cam Green, Head, 6. So we're missing an all-rounder. Does Marsh keep his spot? Does Bo Webster, I know he's old, he's still 30. Does he stick around? Does an Aaron Hardy come into the side? There's a lot of questions here.
I think Marsh stays, but full respect to Marsh, Australian cricket owes him nothing. If he has a few failures, his whole career he has been picked regardless of form. I think he has to make way if he doesn't perform, for the rest of the series.
Number 7, Alex Carey or Josh Inglis.
Yep.
One of those two.
Inglis.
I'm going to say Inglis as well. I was thinking the same thing. Cummins, he comes in. Now, bowling lineup, this could be interesting because Stark, Hazelwood, Lyon, all getting up there. So Stark, he's 34, 37 in 2027. Lyon, I believe he's 38. He's 38. And then Josh Hazelwood, he is Joshy Hazelwood, 33. So 36. He could still be around. Who's the next up-and-coming fast bowler?
Wow. I don't want to say the wild thing because he's been a bit
the mild thing.
Richardson maybe, but geez, he's injury prone.
Spencer Johnson? Xavier Bartlett?
Spencer Johnson's first-class stats are actually quite unreal.
They are.
And he's quick. Yeah.
I'm going to throw in Spencer Johnson.
I don't think Hardy is near there. Yeah, Spencer Johnson. Throw him in.
Xavier Bartlett, there's another one. And we need a spinner.
Oh, God.
Todd Murphy.
Murphy, yeah. I'll throw Murphy in.
That's a side. Yeah, our depth is being tested.
I think Harry Brooks scores multiple centuries.
Harry Brooks will be very good. So we've got Constas, Buddha, Marnus, Green, Head, Marsh, Inglis, Cummins, Spencer Johnson at 9, David Bartlett, and Murphy. That's a very different team to what we've got now and what we'll have next year.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Here's a hypothetical. Who would you rather in your test team? Travis Head or Harry Brook?
Wow.
Good question, eh?
Well, if you go off statistics, you want Harry Brook in your team. If you go off aura and unmatched drinking of beer ability, you want Travis Head. But it's a great question. I think Harry Brook's a generational talent, and he is going to be England's marquee guy.
Harry Brook is an away track bully. I don't think that's ever been a thing, but he is. 8 away centuries. He has more away centuries than David Warner in his career, which is quite unbelievable.
And he's got a 300.
And here's a take that English fans won't necessarily like. They'll like the glazing on Harry Brook, but if Harry Brook continues on this way, within 5 years, he's going to be a top 6 English all-time player. And you might be going, no way. If you think about it, English Test cricket doesn't have that many legends of the game. I know it sounds like a bold take, but list them off compared to other nations. If you
compare our legends.
If you go to Australia, we might pretend there's a top 100 Test players of all time. Australia would have 6 times more.
Yeah.
I think West Indies would as well. I think India would. Well, like both of them. All-time great, yes. Alistair Cook, yeah, he was a good opener. Joe Root, definitely.
Then I think it slides.
And then people go, oh, what about Ben Stokes? Mid. 35 average with the bat, 33 with the ball, something like that. That's Shane Watson numbers.
He played one good innings.
Freddie Flintoff, very good in certain series, but overall fairly mid statistically.
Strauss,
what, low 40s average? Mid. I can't even rattle them off in my brain. And we could talk about like the Wally Hammonds of the 60s and the 50s. They were versus plumbers. No, they weren't, but I feel like they're hard to bring into.
If you're a legend in that era, you're Donald Bradman. You average 99.
Exactly.
That's what you're doing.
I'm talking about the last 40 years.
Yeah. No, you're raising a good
like
point.
Jimmy Anderson. I'm sorry, I forgot about him. He's an all-time great. Slightly overrated.
Stokes also. Not Stokes. Stuart Broad. You could put him in that category as well.
That's more longevity.
But Harry Brook, 23 matches, 2,280 runs, a high score of 317, average of 61. So that's around the Voges era. Strike rate of 88. Like, that's impressive. Test cricket and you're striking at 88. Come on, that's fast runs.
Yeah, that's the type of player where even like if you get a quick 100 as a Test player, you've won the game.
Well, he's got 8 tons, 10 50s. He's going to be, and he's only 25.
And that's
10 years of this.
And that's why Tests are finishing so much quicker. You can still get a player get 100, but it doesn't matter because they've got it off, less rocks than what some players get a 30.
Got 100 off 80 rocks against New Zealand just recently.
Yeah. If we throw back to the last few Indian series, Pujara, this might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure he got a 50 off 350 rocks. If Pujara still existed, mind you, we'd be seeing 5 match.
Yeah, we would be seeing 5 match days. Yeah. Well, you might wrap it up there. Prediction for Gabba Test. What's your prediction? Who scores runs? Who's take wickets? Man of the match. Are we going the 5 days?
I think Mitch Marsh top scores. I think he suits the Gabba deck. And this is... I'm trying to go rogue here. I think Australia win convincingly. I think there's a bit of infighting with the Indian team, especially about captaincy. And I think Cummins gets the most wickets. I'm
going to say Steve Smith bounce back game for Smithy. He's going to top score, 150.
He'll come out with glasses on.
Yep.
And you find his eyes.
He's got a top score with 150. Most wickets, I'm going to go Shiraz. Bounce back game for Shiraz.
Yeah, it's not a bad shout. He does suit the Gabba deck.
Yeah. But good one. Good chat there. I reckon that was a
we've
lovely
pissed off
chat.
Indian fans. We've pissed off English fans.
Yeah. And we've admired the Buddha in the head, which they deserved it. It was good. Might leave it there. We'll be back next week as well to debrief the Gabba Test. It's going to be a belter. I reckon whoever wins this test wins the series.
Yeah, good take.
Definitely, because you could say that at 2-1, you're going 2-1. Oh, that's a massive advantage. But Whoever wins this wins the series. It's not going to be a draw.
Whoever wins the next game loses the series.
Yeah. All right, we'll leave it there. See ya. Goodbye.
See ya.